It was supposed to be a quick trip to pick up dinner, but sometimes taking the stairs instead of the elevator can mean you'll never make it home. You're watching the Untold Archive, where we bring you real stories that will stay in your head long after the video ends. Subscribe now, and let's begin. On the night of June 8th, 2017, a 28-year-old woman, whose name was withheld by police for privacy, pulled into the multi-level garage beneath her apartment building in downtown Chicago. She parked in her usual spot on level 3, locked the car, and slung her work bag over her shoulder. She'd lived there for over 4 years. The garage was well lit, clean, and covered by security cameras. It felt routine, almost boring. But that night, she noticed something that snapped her out of that sense of safety. Near the stairwell entrance, under the harsh glow of a flickering fluorescent light, stood a man. Jeans, black hoodie, hands in his pockets. He wasn't smoking. He wasn't scrolling on his phone. He wasn't doing anything. He was just staring. She looked away quickly, pretending she hadn't noticed, and walked toward the elevator lobby. Her footsteps echoed against the concrete walls. Then, faintly at first, she heard another set of footsteps. Heavier, slower, deliberately matching her pace. She turned down a narrow lane between parked cars, hoping she was imagining it. But as she neared the corner, she caught a movement in the convex security mirror mounted above the stairwell door. The man, following. When he saw her glance up, he dipped his head, squatting slightly as if to tie his shoe. A move so obviously staged, it made her pulse spike. Her instincts took over. She abandoned the idea of using the stairs and moved quickly toward the elevator. She pressed the call button hard, glancing over her shoulder. The footsteps were faster now. The elevator doors slid open and she stepped inside, jabbing the close button repeatedly. At the last second, an arm shot between the doors, forcing them open with a jolt. The man lunged forward. His hood shadowed his face, but she could smell stale sweat and something chemical. Maybe cleaning solution or gasoline. Without thinking, she screamed and kicked his arm with all her strength. The man yelped in pain and pulled back. The doors slammed shut. The elevator shot upward. Her hands were shaking so violently, she could barely hold her keys. When she reached her floor, she sprinted to her apartment, locked the door, and called building security. They reviewed the footage. The man had been in the garage for over an hour, lurking near stairwells and elevator lobbies. He wasn't a tenant. Police later confirmed he had multiple assault charges and was wanted for questioning in another stalking case. 3 days later, they arrested him, just 3 blocks from another apartment complex. Story 2, The Roadside Tail, Oregon, 2019. It's one thing to be followed in the city. It's another when you are the only car on a 2-lane forest highway, and the headlights behind you never pass. In October 2019, 22-year-old Emily W. left her parents' home in Bend, Oregon, to drive back to her apartment in Eugene. It was late, almost 10:30 p.m., and the route she took, Oregon Route 126, was a dark ribbon of asphalt winding through thick national forest. No streetlights, no cell service for long stretches. Her gas tank was full, but her phone battery was down to 12%. She figured she'd make it home before it died. About 40 minutes into the drive, she noticed headlights appear in her rear view mirror. The car stayed far back at first. She thought nothing of it. until she realized that on every curve, every hill, it mirrored her speed exactly. 20 minutes passed. The car didn't pass her, not even on a half-mile straightaway with no oncoming traffic. Emily decided to test it. She pulled into a small, well-lit rest area. If they were just another driver, they'd keep going. Instead, the car turned in two and parked 3 spaces away. She sat in her locked car for a moment, pretending to scroll her phone, heart pounding. The driver didn't get out. They didn't move, just idled there. Trying not to show panic, she put the car in gear and pulled out. Within minutes, the headlights were behind her again. Now she was sure. She grabbed her phone and called 911. Whispering so quietly, the dispatcher had to ask her to repeat herself. The operator told her to keep driving towards Springfield, where officers were waiting, and not to stop for any reason. The road began to feel endless. Every curve, every shadowed tree line, every second with those headlights glued to her rearview mirror made her chest tighten. Finally, she saw the glow of the city ahead. 2 police cruisers waited just past the city limits. As she pulled over, the following car slowed, then suddenly made a U-turn, speeding away into the night. Officers pursued but lost them in the hills. Days later, Oregon State Police linked the car, a dark sedan with tinted windows, to a series of attempted roadside abductions in rural areas. The driver has never been caught. Story 3. The Grocery Store Stalker, Sydney, Australia, 2014. Public places feel safe. Bright lights, cameras, people all around. But when the man who stood too close at the checkout also shows up in your apartment lobby, safety is an illusion. In March 2014, 32-year-old Samantha Lee stopped at a Woolworths in Sydney's central business district after work. The store was bright, busy, and loud with after-work shoppers. That's why she didn't think much of it at first when she noticed a man. Mid to late 30s, tall, wearing a dark jacket, appearing in every aisle she went down. He'd pick up random items and put them back, or stand scrolling through his phone. After the 3rd time, she spotted him. She decided to test it. She cut across 3 aisles quickly, pretending to study a row of canned goods. Seconds later, there he was, again. At the checkout line, he stood directly behind her, so close she could feel his breath on her neck. She shifted forward, but he inched closer again. She paid quickly, left the store, and decided to take a different route home, weaving through side streets instead of her usual path. But halfway there, she heard footsteps behind her. Slow, steady. When she reached her apartment building, she swiped her access card and stepped inside the lobby. The door was heavy and slow to close. Before it could latch, the man slipped in behind her. Samantha screamed and ran for the lift. Her voice echoed off the marble walls. A neighbor, hearing the commotion, stepped into the hallway. The man froze for half a second, then bolted out the door. Security footage later revealed he'd been following her for over 40 minutes, from the grocery store, through the streets, and into her building. Police arrested him the next day. He was charged with multiple counts of stalking and unlawful entry. Court records showed he'd been arrested twice before for similar incidents. If you ever feel like you're being followed, trust that feeling. These 3 people did, and it's the only reason they got away. This is the Untold Archive. Subscribe now and never miss a true story.